Prime Minister, you're here in Mayreau, 1 week after Beryl.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, as I said before, it's horrendous. It's devastating. Um, in some places on the mainland, you have areas of damage and maybe destruction, but this one and Mayreau, this one on Union and Canawan are devastation. We have gotten thus far. The security issue, okay. We have food and water. As you've gone around, the basics are there. Now we are beginning the process of cleaning up. For instance, I'm going to ask a number of young men who had left, young women too, from Union and even Mayreau, and even to some extent Canawan, but not so much there, to come back. We'd pay you $135 a day, maybe $150 a day. Begin the cleanup. There's some things which the disposal of all of this requires a Herculean effort. Bragser came down and did an assessment, and they're sending down equipment on Thursday. I was hoping they could have done it for tomorrow, but it's taking a little longer, the holiday period and all that, even though they have been working. Spoke to Ken Bartholomew, the head of Bragser. If you go to Canawan, you will see the employment of persons, the buzz that is created in Canawan, and it will create the same buzz here and on Union Island. I was telling the children here and in Union, my current thoughts about the school is that we are not going to have back electricity and have things where the children may be able to go to school in Union by September. So I'll have to renovate a couple buildings or build timber buildings for the secondary school and the primary school. We maybe the old facilities which we had for Richmond Gabriel we may be able to use. But that's to be determined. I'll finalize that this week. And then, of course, if we do that, Kenton, I'll have to take up mothers. I have to put them in guest houses because you can't just send your children alone. So it's a complicated process, but we have to set about doing a number of things so that normalcy can return to some extent while we do the rebuilding. But you take Kenton, in the Southern Grenadines, you have 2,450 active accounts with Vinlec. So you can take those as being households and businesses. So you can say easily you have over 2,000 households. I'm not talking about the households in the north of Canawan. I'm not talking about the resort area. But let us say that you have 1,800 houses which you need to rebuild in one way or the other. And a lot of them from scratch. Maybe 1,000 of them from scratch, maybe more. But even if it's 1,000, $200,000 for each unit. Do the math. 1,000 at $200,000. That's $200 million. Then between St. Vincent and Beckway, you probably have another $500-600. That's over another $100 million. So housing and loan, you're looking at $300 million. I'm talking back of the envelope calculations. The assessment still hasn't been done fully because we have started an inventory as to the houses. It's just commenced in Canawan, where the infrastructure was set up a little earlier. But that is going to happen here also and in Union. And then there are the businesses which have to be reconstructed, and then government buildings, the hospital, and so on and so forth. As part of bringing things back to normalcy and let people and build confidence, certainly people working will help with that. I know Bragser informed me that they have allocated 3 contracts already to work down here in Union and Mayreau.
And Prime Minister, on the electricity, has been given an indication of how soon power would be restored?
They said to me that it is unlikely that electricity will be restored to Union before the end of the year, but that
And Mayreau?
the plant in Mayreau and the plant in Canawan, it appears as though they had damage done, it is not as bad as in Union, so they may be able to get up in a few months' time, maybe 6 weeks, 2 months. They don't want to venture me any specific timelines, but talking to them, this is the kind of response that I've been getting. There are a couple of places in Mayreau which have electricity from Vinlek. Two places. So that, but you notice all the poles, well, not all of them here, but the lines are all gone and so forth. And it was going to take some time to get those back.
I just want to get a comment on a few quick things. Saltwater Bay is breached, and we know the importance of that to the economy of the island.
Well, the Minister of Economic Planning, Camilo, had asked Kelly Glass and Terence Devine, who had been the contractor, the man who oversaw the construction of Sanders. They came down and to see what can be done temporarily. And they haven't got the report yet, but clearly we have to act very swiftly, because if we don't act swiftly, that breach will cause an erosion of the beach, and that beach could go, which is the asset in relation to tourism. Well, central part of the asset to tourism in Mayreau and for the people of Mayreau. Told from the verbal report that I received that the main part of the work which was done, the temporary work that held, is a small area which was breached, and where the waves took opportunity of that and entered.
Yeah, we went over, and that is in fact the case. I see you have Her Excellency the Ambassador from the Republic of China on Taiwan here.
Yes. Well, I wanted her to come and see the situation. You know, Taiwan is a major partner to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I wanted her to get a first-hand view so that she can report to her government. We have been in touch with the government. And I wanted her especially to see Union Island Airport. Remember, they had built Union Island Airport, you know, I'm talking Taiwan. Maybe we may get them to rebuild it again. I don't know, but we see how those things go.
And finally, Prime Minister, one of the complaints we've had is that some of the residents have told us that they haven't seen a government official as yet.
Oh, well, that can't be so, because we have had several visits by ministers here. Several ministers.
But some of them said that they heard that Minister James was here.
Minister James was here. I think Gustas was here. Camilo came.
But maybe if you can use this opportunity to maybe reassure or say something.
Well, I want to reassure them that this is my first visit. I went to Union, and then I went to in the first week, the first few days, Union and Canawan, and I wanted to be here, in a sense, by the end of the first week, which is what I have accomplished. And I've talked to a number of persons on the wharf, and I want them to know that they are very much at the forefront of our concerns. Look, Kenton, the first order of business, the focus of the government's business now, is to address the 3 R's after a disaster of this magnitude: relief, recovery, reconstruction. And there are different phases. Of course, relief is the immediate one, and relief merges very quickly into a process for recovery, and reconstruction is conjoined with that. But while we are doing those things, we have to do all of those things in tandem with the ongoing sustainable development program that we have for the country, We have to repurpose some monies from the budget. We have to use money from the consolidated fund. Monies which come for the relief, as you would expect from governments, which is usually governed by their own internal regulations. Fairly small sums. And that's why the contingency fund is so important. I'm going to go to Parliament hopefully on the 18th. If the people in the Ministry of Finance put all the numbers together, I have to go to supplementary appropriation bill, supplementary estimates. First one, because there will be certain legal requisites which I have to comply with. And then before, there'll be a second one, there'll be a third one, before we actually reach November, December, when we have the estimates for 2025. As everyone knows, this government has had to deal with many natural disasters. Sophia was a humongous one, so too is this one. And this one has some features which are more problematic because of the distance from the capital. You know, Kingston is 40 miles from Union Island because of the loss of communications and so on. And there are some things which have to be learned. We have to address whether we use the same kind of aluminium galvanized, these kind of things, or we use something different. Is it aluminium steel? I don't know. Some other more expensive but longer lasting. How you build the house roofs. If you look around, there are houses where the roofs are at a particular angle and more some gable roof, you know, they have survived. You made that observation. So the architects have to address that question. The builders have to address that question. So there are many, many, many lessons which have to be learned from this. But I want to say, this terrible setback, we will turn it into an advance.
Prime Minister, just
if you sustainable advance.
If you could just summarize very quickly, now that we have this quality image, audio and everything, what you've seen here in Mayreau.
Devastation. There's one word for it, devastation. And in relation to the children, my thoughts are with them. You take the secondary school, as I mentioned, in Union Island, and the primary school, they're not. I don't think we're going to be able to get them back up in time for September, but I want the children to go to school, so I have to make alternative arrangements. It's on the mainland, but that has to involve their families. So Kenton, I mean, I can talk a lot, and if you want to come by any time, and I can go through many details which we are thinking about, and the plan which we have. And I'm reaching out to lots of governments and international agencies and individuals. There's a gentleman who has a wealthy man in the north of Canouan who has been thus far pledged reasonable sums of money to help with Canouan and also with Union Island with the cleanup and with some other relief resources. Other agencies have pledged, but we have to see the total picture and the progress of relief, recovery, reconstruction. But the bill is going to run into hundreds of millions of dollars, no question about it. And you can see that for yourself, Kenton.
Thank you very much.
Even though the assessment has not been complete about the damages.
Thank you very much.